1250s, 10s, 948, 894. That was a fucking year.
Done. See ya.
Hi, I'm Larry Hamilton.
And I'm Jordan Overstreet. We're co-owners of House of Boost.
So we're here today to give you kind of the rundown on how it all started with this record-setting S650 we have.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And shoot. So yeah, it's pretty crazy to look back and how this all started and how simple it was and where we went.
Oh yeah, like in 6 months, we went from calling our friends at Max Motors, finding a GT Mustang that was like really hard to get at the time, and turning it into this crazy monster.
Yeah, and then the fact that sight unseen,
Yeah.
we knew it was red.
Yep.
We don't like red, and it had stripes. We found out when we got there, and
And none of us like stripes, but when we saw the car, we're like, "Holy crap! This is like this is the unit."
it was wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it probably kind of struck us as a big wow thing. So we
Yeah.
we were in love.
Yeah, we still are.
And then we still are.
We're sitting here talking about like a defining moment for our piece of this company. Like this is a defining moment for us, and it's a big deal for us to actually go out and spend $150,000 on a project.
We're small fries doing big things.
Yeah, well, and we're doing it better than most of the big fries. All of them. I don't think there's anybody out here doing what we're doing with what we got.
Right? No, I agree.
So we bought the car kind of because we love it. We wanted to do it. We wanted to be part of the community. And if you don't have your own stuff, you can't show people what you're capable of. And you can't show people.
You can't go out and really can't go out and break someone's car.
Yeah.
And then they're really unhappy.
Yeah.
So we invested in our own cars.
Yeah. And it's been one of the best things we've ever done. I mean, we've had some awesome people.
Whipple being one.
Yep.
We've always been a Whipple dealer. Same with VMP, but we're all kind of had the same overall goal is to go fast. And once we showed how fast we could go, almost kind of in a simple matter, everybody was like,
yeah, UPR.
Everybody was just kind of on board. Like, hey, let's get this done. UPR, VMP, Whipple, G-Force,
Beefcake
Billet
Racing.
Specialty, Beefcake.
Yeah.
To think that we bought this car June 28th, took delivery, I think it's June 28th.
Yeah.
And, October, I think it was October, we made our first $899 pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think it was like a 1250 car.
1250 car, we picked it up.
We were absolutely I was just disappointed with this car when we first got it. And
it's kind of a third.
I haven't been disappointed with any of the S650s, but we get this one and we're like, oh, it should be in the high 11s. Easy.
Yeah. They should
you get out there
430 wheel.
Yeah.
We made 405 wheel.
And it was like 1200 degrees outside, so it wasn't like it was a perfect day to go. But we like 1250 at like 112.
Yeah,
like
112, 113, something like that.
Yeah, and so like to go from that to 899 in like 4 months.
Yep. With basically a stock engine.
Yeah.
Oil pump gears that everybody says you don't need to do, but we're a big believer that it's cheap insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the boundary gears, dual rotor. I mean, the oil pressure is awesome. It's going to keep everything nice and handy. So, cheap insurance to do something to make sure the motor's going to live. And we're pushing it. We're kind of in the unknown areas of this.
We don't know what it's going to take to blow it up because nobody's really done it.
And go 1250s, and then we did a catback, we did headers. We fought a couple things. We put GT350 axles in it. They didn't last very long. So we got with our friends at G-Force and got connected with those, put some Renegade, or all axles in it actually. And so that was fixed. And then, we knew the trans was going to be a problem. That lasted us, into the 940 area. I think I want to say it was September or so. We set the overall world record with the car. It was 9
on accident.
Yeah, on accident. I remember I had the flu. I was super sick, but we had a track rental.
Yeah.
And no one was available to go, so I was running solo for the day, sitting in my truck, staying away from everybody, and just telling the guys, I don't know if I'm going to survive, but I'm going to do it. So we went to Flying H, our good friends over there, did a track rental, and we weren't getting time slip printed out. They were having a hard time, so just like, hey guys, made a pass. It felt good.
Yeah.
I called them up, and then finally, like 30 minutes later, we got our time slips, and I was like, we just set the world record, quickest and fastest S650 as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was pretty shocking. I think it was a 944, and it went 942, so we backed it up.
Mm-hmm.
Then I said, I'm done. I was sick, so I went home. But then at that point, we were just like, now we're
Trans
fine.
was slipping that day.
The trans was slipping a little bit.
We were watching the
Yeah.
data logs, and you can see the transmission was slipping, and so it was
You
kind
know,
of done.
we're
anyway.
running out of fuel-ish in a way, you know, we're all these things. So we're just, but we're like, now we were on fire. Now we were like,
Yeah, we
That
went
was
from
a
let's make a fast car so people can kind of see what we do and go out and be in part of the community, and then we set a world record. And we're like, well, how far can we push
Yeah.
this record? And then we saw that nobody had gone 8s yet, so we're like in the thick of it.
yeah, we're like,
Well,
that was
let's
pretty
go
easy.
8s.
That was
Yeah,
pretty easy.
yeah, 940 was easy. That was, and then everything after that has been a ton of work to get to
Yeah.
the next stage. Like, I don't think people really fully understand how much time and energy you put into making an 8-second car.
Yeah.
But when people say, I can't believe it's done this easily,
Yes and no.
relative
Yeah.
to somebody building an engine and doing all those things, yeah, it's pretty easy. But to make a car, to trick a car into going 8s is actually a lot harder than people think. Because we don't have enough fuel to do what we're doing. We don't have a built motor. We don't have capability of like a full custom tune.
We're
So
still on Magna-Ride suspension.
we're still on stock Magna-Ride suspension with just springs,
Yeah.
BMR drag springs, and so like all of these things are not designed to go 8s. Like they're just not designed to work together that way, and so we've had to kind of pull like we blend our own fuel, we do these other things, and we've had so many failures trying to do that, like making the right fuel and figuring out what the right mixture is and formula is. We've messed
Played
around.
chemist a lot.
We played chemist a lot. We messed around with ethanol injection, and that was.
My friends over
We're still,
yeah.
that was kind of the ticket to our last fastest pass,
Gave us a little bit of safety.
and gives us a margin, but it didn't. We're literally just doing what we can do with what we have.
Yeah, you can't take full advantage of meth without tuning, so it just gave us a little bit of safety, and
Yeah.
we ran our best fast with it. So you know, we're happy with the guys at Snow helping us out.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, yeah, nobody, ourselves, anybody thought that we would go. I always say as fast as we did, as fast as we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's kind of crazy, and everybody knocks on this car, and you know, I don't understand how they can really knock on it. Yeah,
The S650, not our
the
car.
S650,
Yeah.
not our car yet, but the S650s has gotten so much hate, even by fellow Mustang owners. You
Yeah.
know, they're duds, they're this, that, another. But you know, like for what we've done with the combined help of a big, awesome group of people helping us out on the project, like we accomplished a lot. I mean, the car's 4,000 pounds. And people out there were calling that lightweight. I'm not sure where they get lightweight from a 4,000 pound car, but whatever. It's yeah, haters are gonna hate. But the car's phenomenal. I mean, we could drive it anywhere, do anything, and we've accomplished a lot in a short period of time. We're really proud of it. So, you know, our first 8-second pass was quite an accomplishment. We were all super excited and whatnot, and that was after we had lost the trans. We put a new trans in it, did a Suncoast Stage 2 kit. Terry at Beefcake hooked us up with that, and we had it built locally by some friends. Everything seemed good overall, but we got to the track, right off the trailer.
The whole thing was, it was this big race to the 8s. Like
Yes.
us, Beefcake, Evolution, all of us had low 19s cars. So they were
Yeah.
going like 917,
9.0,
13.
19s, yeah.
And so like there's this big race to the 8s, and so we had all week to get our trans built, put back in, and stuff like that. And the night before we went to the track, we spent all night on the dyno trying to like. That's when we tried to squeeze everything we could out of it. And you and I were there until like midnight or something, just dynoing. And then we loaded the car up and got ready for the next day. But all week we were thinking Fred from Evolution was going to get out there and get the 8s first, and so we were it was kind of a fun like race to get there.
Yeah.
And it was good motivation.
Friendly
for
routes.
us. So we wake up like Saturday morning. We had the private track rental for Saturday. The weather was decent, and he gets a text from Fred before we leave here, like, "Hey, it's like negative 4 million DA this morning."
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, they got, East Coast stuff. They got some nice, good air compared to what we are, and also being an hour ahead of us.
Yeah, we'll get there.
You know, we lost that race, but
Yeah,
it's
so we
yes and
we get to the track, we pull off the trailer, we warm up the car, we're waiting for our track to open.
Yeah.
We're literally sitting there waiting for them to go hot on the truck so we can get out there and go. And he gets a text
from Fred.
890,
Yeah.
and we're like, God.
Yeah, I think it was like 894.
Yeah, so
896, something like that. But yeah,
we missed it by
damn.
like literally 20 minutes waiting for our track to open. So like that's how close the race to the 8s were.
So
And he has a dark horse, which is a slightly like more built. It's got forged rods and a couple other things that would give me more confidence in the car. And so So
Yeah,
we
don't-
let him have the dark horse record and all that stuff, and we decided like let's just go ahead and shoot for the GT record because
Keep
nobody's had one of these in the eights.
Right.
And so, that's what we did, and we went 899, 8.99,
899. No, 899 with a 9.
Oh, it was 899 with a 9. It was like
899
as into the
and,
eights as you could
and it
barely
was
get.
just not a good run. It just didn't feel
didn't feel
great.
good.
The trans didn't shift great, so I was kind of bummed in the car. I'm like, no, I didn't do it because it didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, the runs that don't feel good are our best runs.
Right.
It's
Well,
kind of funny.
it was so like all along it's been doing these little like 1-2 inch wheelies, like look pretty cool. When on that day, Justin and I were standing out by the track, and I was right next to it, and you watch, it does this monster like for a stock full weight car, pulls the front wheels like a foot off the ground, and we look at each other like, that's it, we did 899.
The short end's always where it's at. So
and you look down and boom, 899 at like 152,
yeah,
153
short shifts, all kinds of stuff was just not right. But then, so we're all, holy cow, we did it, and so that was just like, hey, we got the fastest GT in the world. I mean, so we went back out, we tried to make some more passes, and the trans just was not happy. We were pretty bummed about it, and so
we had a valve body issue.
thinking about those things, we had a valve body issue. We were in a rush of this race to the 8, so we should have got a new valve body and something was hung up in the valve body somewhere, so it caused a problem. So we ended up putting a new valve body in it the next week, got the trans back, did some more dyno testing, everything seemed good, put a lot more time at shifting this and that in the trans, so and we said, hey, let's
go to Mod Nationals.
go to Mod Nationals.
We decided like a week before Mod Nationals, like, hey, you know what we should do? Go to Mod Nationals. Let's drive to freaking Florida.
And at that point, it's like you got a 950 class, you got an 850 class, and here we are, 899. So, what do you do? So here we are, Mod Nationals, 1 week before, car that's not
tested. New trans again.
And we're gonna throw that thing in a trailer. And the night before, we did a lot of testing, and I mean, I was here at the shop with Nate, maybe until 2 a.m. Went home, showered, loaded back up, and came back to the shop. And
we were there. Yeah. Because that was when we decided we were going to try the methanol injection thing. So
yeah,
that was
it was a crazy night, and but that's just the way racing goes. So you can never be prepared. I don't care how long ahead we could have planned it 6 months earlier, we still would have been last minute. But
we drove like 20 bajillion miles with like 2 minutes notice.
Yeah.
And
so
and decided we were gonna
Avery.
Yep, Avery came with us.
So
we decided we were going to try to like drive straight through. I was gonna drive a shift. Larry's gonna drive a shift. And we got about.
And you realize you're old and driving.
And we go through a monsoon.
Storms, like flooded highways and
driving like this down the highway for like 45 minutes.
And I can't see anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, you kind of fast forward. We say, what are we gonna do? Really, 950 class was our only option because it wasn't gonna go 850s and
not yet
100-degree weather at this point. And so 950 was kind of the class to be, which puts us in with Evolution and Terry from Beefcake was supposed to make it down. He was struggling with a few things with his car, so he didn't make it. But we had some good, Justin and Rebecca from VMP were going to be in our class. So it was cool to have some good competition. It's Team Whipple, so we're all in. But the car would not go slow enough. When it's in the extreme heat and put a bigger pulley on it and try to launch it softer, and no matter what we did, it's like 920s. Put a bigger pulley on it.
Put seats in it, fill it up with fuel.
Full exhaust, put the seats in it. Like, we're just like, man, the car just doesn't want to go.
We put the biggest pulley, which was the 375, which is what comes with a stage 2 stock duplicate. We put that on there and still went like 938 with you letting off at like 1,000 foot.
Yeah, so we're still.
It was the most frustrating thing. We're up there sweating like crazy. Like,
I think I said I was sweating my balls.
Keeping these billets looking clean and sweating my balls off.
Something like that, yeah.
But but it was an awesome time. We met so many great people, and in the end, final wise, we just said we're just gonna send it. So we put the what did we put on it? 325.
Yeah,
325 is the smallest we had at that point.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to kind of just run it on my own. I didn't want to throw the class off and anything. They're just like, nope, run the class. So it's kind of funny video.
We like stopped the guys and like whoever we were gonna run, we're like, hey, by the way, as long as you don't try to jump and follow us, this is a buy for you because we're just going for it. We're just gonna send in.
So I don't remember the guy's name, great sportsman, whatever, but I remember he was just like, what the hell just happened? He's like, I don't got enough. And you know, in the heat, we go 9:04, and I was hoping to go 8s in the crazy weather, but you know, 9:04 was still. I mean, everybody was pretty shocked.
That was one of my favorite motorsport moments in history, because everybody's watching this 950 class, right? And like, a 90 isn't, like, in the grand scheme of things, the fastest car in the world.
No.
But when you're watching 950 car, 950 car, 950 car, that extra half a second and probably 15 miles an hour that we did was wild for the field we were in and the things we were doing. So everybody just kind of dropped what they were doing and turned and looked at me like, what is wrong with you?
And then so many people were messaging us and stuff like, so glad you guys just sent it. That was awesome. You know.
Yeah, and that was the thing. We were hanging out at the VMP, like their spot, and so many people came by. They recognized the car, or recognized us, or whatever else, and they were saying like, "Are you guys gonna go for the 8s today? Are you gonna try to send it? Are you gonna do And so like I spent so much time trying to slow down the car and being so frustrated because usually people are going the other way. Like we're just trying to put everything in it to make it go faster, and we spent all this time. I will not do that again. You'll have to find a new partner. You ask me to slow this car down again.
No more.
But like it just wouldn't slow down. It was the most frustrating thing, and just to have that release, like finally Larry's like, let's just send it. We're not going to take the class. We're not going to ruin it for anybody else. Let's just go. Let's have fun. And so that was pretty cool to see a whole bunch of feedback from people that were excited to see us like rip down the track.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So that was pretty fun.
And the event was amazing. I mean, Justin put on a great show. We're looking forward to going back in September, I think it is.
October. Yeah.
So we're looking forward to going back to South Georgia Motorsport Park, and it's gonna be a good time. So we're back from Mount National. Super excited about the 904 pass that we did, and we said, hey, we're gonna look for some great weather, try to get some of that East Coast magic air, and see if we're confident we're gonna go 8s, no problem. I mean, at this point, there's no reason we shouldn't, right? So, lined up a couple guys. We did a rental together again once again at Flying H, and we did it. You know.
Kind of.
I'm getting into myself.
We started. Yeah, you're good. Yeah. The weather was actually okay, but it was actually a little too cold.
It was.
We wanted cold air, but like sun.
Oh, but it was supposed to be colder with sun.
You're right.
But it ended up being like 55 with a
overcast.
With a spit of sun in the morning, and then it went overcast, and we had no sun on the track all day.
So the track was ice cold.
Yeah, the track was super cold.
And the guys on the track did a great job prepping.
Blake and his team did a killer job. I mean, they were dragging, spraying.
They were doing what they could.
They did everything they could.
They did their part.
Yeah, they did everything they could, but
we went a whole we went like a whole string of 9-ups.
Yeah, ton of 9-0s, really fighting traction.
Which we never had before, which is
I think we don't have B-locks. The tires were spinning the wheels. We found probably a good 8 to 12 inches overall. Looking back on some things, we we were trying second gear. We had used first gear quite a bit. We were trying second gear leads, and we found that we could foot brake it. To about 3,500. Circle D converter was working awesome. But with the cold track itself, we couldn't put the power down. Anytime I tried to launch anything over like 2,200, I mean, it literally would just shake and blow the tires off. So we did a string, like I said, string of 9-0s. We did a couple. I think we hold the record for the 8th mile overall, 123 in the 8th. I don't know that anybody's went 121, 122. So I think, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty confident. We did 2 123 passes.
We're in 1 or 2 plus. There's not very many other cars.
I know we were also the first of the 5s with the S650. I think our best so far has been a 577, something like that. So,
yeah.
But so once again, as I mentioned earlier, it's like the pass that don't feel the best is always kind of.
Well, yeah, it got kind of crazy because like it started misting.
Oh yeah, it was misty.
We're getting like towards the end of the night, it starts like misting, and it's off and on, kind of spinning.
But they're dragging the track, so it's like hey, the track's dry.
Yeah, like we're like, let's go make it in. See
I'm
what
looking
happens.
at the windshield. I'm like,
it's got rain on the windshield, like it turned
not
out
wiper effect type stuff, but it was enough to still be kind of crazy.
Yeah, and
but the track guys are like, let's do it. So I said, okay. So I foot brake it to like 2,200 and let it eat, and again, it didn't feel
Well,
great.
hey, well, hold on. Look, there's like a whole lot more that happened. Do you remember the camera thing on the windshield?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we were really
Yeah,
proud of
we're-
Whipple
yeah, we're-
and the relationship that we have with Whipple, and we decided we were going to be really smart and put this big Whipple banner across the windshield.
which was on at Mod Nationals.
Yeah, but
And we didn't have any problems. And
you
so,
were manually shifting it on nationals.
yeah, but still do it. Same thing at Flying H. I have.
Well, that's
I
okay.
have been trying to hold out 6th gear because
Yeah.
instead of going to 7, it has worked. It's been working, but
Yeah.
we'll get
get
there.
in trouble for
We'll,
that.
we'll get there. Yeah, so we're like, what the hell? So we sent a log and we saw a code and Dustin at, we sent the log and Dustin at Whipple said, hey, that code.
Is that camera? No, that's not even what happened. He said there's not by any chance any like camera codes in there or anything. And you're like, well, yeah, we got a code for the camera. And I went and I looked, and the Whipple logo has like these 2 little stripes on it, and one of the stripes just dead center of the camera on it's the collision avoidance and all of that camera on the front. And what it was doing was the car was going into like, it would go out of drag mode and into normal mode, and then it wouldn't shift right, and it would do all this weird stuff because the camera was low.
Oh, but still, so now sometimes you get ahead of yourself because there's so much. We've put so much into less than 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, before that, we did a prior rental before that, and we burst the brake line,
Oh yeah.
and then we were getting this weirdness in the trans again, and we're like, what the heck's going on? But we thought
Maybe
the
traction control,
ABS and traction control was acting up. We get a new brake line on. Brad Vasco hooked us up with a brake line and got the car back together, but it was still acting weird. Thankfully, I caught the broken brake line on the starting line. That could have been really scary with no parachute. Knock us, yes, it needs a parachute, but thankfully it was off the starting line and didn't die. So then we said, okay, we'll get back. We'll do the full ABS bleed and run through all this process with the car. Then we end up back on December 8th.
Yeah.
Of all days, December 8th, we're like, okay, we're going to go. Then we got to that point, and this weird codes are popping up. The trans is active. It would go from track mode, drag mode.
Yeah.
And then it would just fault back to normal mode and shift early the rest of the time. And
Or
I was
not
like,
shift. Or not shift.
or
bounce
not
off
shift,
the
or not
brake,
shift, bounce off the Rebel or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, look at the cameras. A lot goes on in a short period of time, but I'm like, something doesn't feel right. And I'm pretty sure I saw the dash go back. So Avery replayed the camera for us and stuff, and it was. You saw the dash just go, everything go back to normal, and then I'm shifting to like 65 or 6800, and still going 9 low, 9 20s, 9 lows, whatever. So Dustin and we also had a prize for the trek that Chuck was there from Whipple.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So that was
Chuck
cool.
there.
We had a very special guest, and we pulled that sticker off.
I
30
think that was
codes.
actually Chuck that started that idea.
Yeah.
Camera thing.
Pull the sticker off, and then we never got a fault again, and it stayed in drag mode the whole time.
So back to the rain. Pulled to the line. It starts raining, and it actually got a little heavier right after they drug the track. And I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like,
went back to our
every part of us wanted to just back up our 8-second round because we know we've got this car's faster than an 890. Like, there's no question this car's faster than an 890. If we could launch, and the thing would hold the power, it would be a lot faster.
I think the tires would be beat up by the end of the day.
Yes, because I would
Sidewalls.
easily an 870 car, or maybe faster. But we get the sticker off, we get started to rain, and we get maybe one more pass, maybe 2, and so we're like, let's just make a hit at it and see what happens. And he goes down the track, and it didn't look fast, it didn't look violent,
It didn't sound perfect.
it didn't sound great. But
yeah.
then he comes back, and they were written time slips at the starting line because he was a private track runner. So I grabbed the time slip, and I about lost it because we went 894 at like $153.
It was like 152 and some change, whatever.
Yeah. So
just like awesome.
and so he comes back. I'm like, how'd that feel? And he was like, nah, probably another 9-0. And I was like, didn't it feel like an 8-second pass? He's like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, it was an 8-second pass.
So then I'm like on fire. So I'm like, okay, it's got to stop raining. We got to figure this out. Can we launch this thing harder? Because that was like a 1.34 60 foot in second gear with a soft leave overall. So I'm like, man, I think it'll go 1.29s, and if we go 1.29s, we'll definitely go 80s at that point. And then at that point, we'd be fastest overall in general.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Fastest GT, dark horse, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. We'd be the fastest S650 overall. Quickest, fastest. So, man, we just kept trying, and it just kept blowing the tires off.
As it turns out, they don't like to be drag raced in the rain.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
the damp track and
I know,
cold track.
who
It
would have
just
thought?
so we decided, you know what, it's not worth it. You know, we backed up our pass. We have a ton of 9.0 strings. We have a 123 and an 8. We got the car. Billet just came out with beat lock for the 18s, but since we got the drag brakes now, we can get some 17s. So we got to get those ordered up with those guys. This will just be kind of our street trim wheel, and we'll put some different, probably put ET Pros or Pro radios on it and stuff like that for next year. And you know, as we noted recently, the car is kind of apart right now. Got the blower off, just doing some preventive maintenance checks on the car. Everything looks nice and healthy. They got a few things in store for the coming year, and it's not going slower.
We're gonna spice it. Thing is we're not gonna do any trickery. Anything we do to this car,
We can
do for someone else. That's the whole point of this car. Is we're building something we can build
typically off the shelf stuff.
literally for anyone. We're not doing any trickery. We're not doing any crazy like wiring. We're not changing the transmission. We're not putting a Gen 3 computer in it. Like all of those things kind of take away from the fun and the challenge of building a car like this, because yes, you can do it, and it is a lot of work and it's a lot of engineering. But to charge enough to do that for someone else, or to do it for someone
Your
else,
average person
it's
buying a
not
car like
fun.
this doesn't want to tear it up tear it apart with them.
We want something that's like when you get in, it's definitely louder than stock, but other than that, it
I
drives
mean, we still had
good.
on the 894 pass. We still had the factory seat in it. I was using the hand warmers and seat warmers. You know, it was all there. The only weight we had out of the car for that pass was the passenger seat and the catback exhaust off of it. And we plan to put the catback back on because
It's stupid loud.
I hate how loud it is inside the car. You can't hear, so we're gonna move some other weight around and put the
It sounds great on the big one, though.
It sounds great. It does sound like a friggin' pro mod coming through the top end.
Yeah.
But short end of the track, it just sounds like Cooter's friggin' tow truck. Loss of exhaust. So,
Sounds like somebody just hacked it up in the garage. Listen how loud my car is.
but you know, we're appreciative of all the support from clients, friends, haters, and all our awesome vendors.
You're all pushing us to do more and better and greater things, and hopefully we can do that for other people for years to come.
Absolutely. So, good job.
Jordan, get up hip to hip. Not like that. Like turn in.
That's pretty gay.
Turn in.
Let me take my hoodie off.
Oh, yeah. Get this on some. Get this
Jordan,
on
you
some.
just scooted over.
Woo. I don't. Is this how you do it? I'm not sure.
No.
Where do I put it?
What am I supposed to do?
Oh.
I'm just joking.
Yes, it is. Come.
I'm just joking.
Put your chin down.
So we got some other good news. We got a brand new website coming out here in the next, probably, hopefully by the end of the month. We're also working on a lot of cool merch, all the latest and greatest parts, whatnot, and then we're working on something real cool specifically for this car, which is the record-setting GT. And check out right here.